Simraceway broadcast for this Sunday here in the opening weekend of April. It's my birthday, and thankfully I've got one of the greatest presents imaginable in terms of a new championship. Now, I know that the Mitsubishi Evolution X the Lancers have been giving us such a thrilling show week in, week out, and everyone also recently has been praising the Subaru Impreza from 2011, just showing us how much they can do and how much effort it takes to really rag those cars around this circuit, bringing you the best racing possible. So what happens when you have a championship with both cars put together? The answer is the all-wheel drive championship. Two rounds of the Subaru, 2 rounds of the Mitsubishi Evolution X, and 4 rounds of complete and utter madness. I'm sure it's going to be the Edmonton Indy circuit. It's not exactly the easiest circuit to navigate. A lap of about a 1:47 on average. And it's also very tight as well, of course, based at an airport. And just taking a look at the current times at the moment, it's very close at the front of the field. It's King Dyer that's currently pole, Lounger second, Lolin Fox third, Devil Bevin lines up on the second row at the moment, then G. Cortese P5, Van Panther in 6th, Agvarti 7th, Ondrejk Passer 8th, Riberio's P9 at the moment with traffic in front of him. There's been a crash just going through the chicane. I think Riberio's narrowly avoided it, so keeps the session still going pretty strong at the moment. PA is 10th, and just outside the top 10 is B13A6, Suzuki LJ50, and Fun Sideways. Let's see how much Sideways Fun Sideways can have today. It's a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it? He'll go over the line this time by. Let's see what sort of lap time he's going to produce. I'm not too sure if it's going to be worthy of a top 10 just yet. It's a long run all the way down that straight, which means on the final lap of the race, it's going to be interesting if you can get yourself alongside. He does go 12th, but we've seen it before here at Edmonton, where if you can just get yourself on the inside line here or get a better run out the corner, you can really mount a charge. You've got a good 10-11 seconds, I'd say, to get a slipstream running, and the amount of speed you can gain in a draft here in that amount of time is going to be enough to clench you that position by just a few hundredths of a second. But as B13A6 goes over the start-finish line now, he doesn't improve his time. Lolin Fox, the man who's on pole, currently on a lap at the moment. Let's see what Litos 76 can do then at the moment. He's currently found himself in 15th, hasn't set a lap time just yet. So we'll see what he can bring to the table. He's just making his way down the first of the 2 long back straights here. And he's got a little bit of competition as well, having the pole sitter provisionally lined up directly behind you. It's never really going to be an incentive to get yourself in the way. He's got a bit wide going out of the final corner. This is exactly what we're talking about. Something which could very well happen during the race. In fact, as we said, we've seen it so many times before. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Over the line they go, and just as an example, you can see it would have been Litos that took the position that time round, but the session is over, and Litos only goes 14th. 3.9 seconds off. And that's not where he needs to be at all. Still got the rest of the cars, though, on the track at the moment. Fun Sideways is having a lot of fun sideways. Oh, that looked gorgeous through the final corner. He dives in the pits, however. The lap, not quite good enough, but definitely an impressive showing, that's for sure. So PA makes his way over the line. He ends up in P10. That's the highest he will start the race from. Of course, a few cars behind could still jump up a few positions. Let's see what Agvarti can do then as he makes his way down the final straight. He's currently P7, 0.3 of a second away from Van Panther, so a little bit of work to do from the midfield, but let's see what he's got as he goes over the line. Is it enough? No, it's not. P7 it is. Cortese in the pits from P5, Devil Bev in 4th, Lounger 3rd, Dio 2nd. I think that's the end of the qualifying session, except for Ribery, who's just finished, and Agvarti's just gone off, but yes, it is so. Lolin Fox takes a commanding pole position by 0.2 of a second. And we've got King Dio, Lounger, Devil Bevin, and G. Cortese rounding out your top 5. Don't go anywhere. We've got 18 laps of action coming up for you right round the corner. Hello everybody and welcome back live to the first ever round of your all-wheel drive championship for 2014. It was an impressive pole position from Lolin Fox, but the question is, can he really retain it and turn it into a victory? A circuit which is so encouraging for overtaking. Drafting is such an easy thing to accomplish, and it's such a vital role in this race. Will Lolin Fox have an advantage, or is he going to be at a disadvantage? Let's find out as King Dio looks to try and take a move into the ever tricky turn number one. Big start by the man on the outside as the field scramble their way through. Look at Lounger diving at the inside. A terrible start by the pole sitter. He's down to third position as Devil Bevan tries to rinse him round the outside. Dio swoops round. Lolin Fox retains the lead somehow. Coming out of the first corner, I think he was a bit lucky with the car placement of the other two drivers, but they make their way now down in towards turn number two. And look at the slipstream, and it's already started to begin to unfold now as they try to get into some sort of orderly queue. They don't want to be really moving around too much, but I think they might have to be. Down in towards the very tight left-hander they go. And Dio back on the outside now. He's gone down to P4, so it's not really been too much of a forward progress race for him at this stage. However, he's trying to force his way on the inside of you on the outside for the next corner, as you can see. And these Imprezas are looking hungry today. There's a bit of a queue forming up now behind King Dio as well. Lolin Fox and Cortese have pulled out a massive lead already, 6 seconds in fact. And we've got a spin in the back as well. We've got 2 spins now as the cars try to avoid the carnage and avoid turning it into more carnage. More importantly, I think Mr. PA may have been one of the cars involved. Luckily, every car's got back relatively quickly on circuit. I didn't think they would be that speedy recovering, but look at the battle for the lead. This is exactly what we were talking about. Going in towards his final apex now. Let's just wait and see if there's going to be a provoked move here from Cortese. Lolin Fox gets very squirmy on the end of lap number 1, just by the pit lane. Now you can see Cortese with a great draft. He's not quite close enough to utilise it this time, I don't think, however. Up the inside of turn 1, he's going to look for it. Ducked back in there. You can definitely feel like the move's on the verge of breaking through. There's not going to be too long that separates a move here with some certain contact. And just as I said that, off into the background goes Lounger. I think it's been another car off as well. Yeah, Mr. PA has suffered a bit of a flaw there. He's, well, pretty much cemented himself into that tyre wall. It's almost like he's trying to camouflage. We'll have to wait and see if he can get the car recovered. Turn bound, pointed in the right direction again. He has, but he's lost a huge deficit as Andre Passer leaves the pit lane. It's a bit of a delayed start there, but nonetheless, you can just see him there moving in the background. But already a very intense start to the race as Lolin Fox has now got a 1 minute 35 second lead over the man in P13. However, the majority of the midfield still very tightly bunched together. And look at the battle there with ninth position as well. Litos under intense pressure there from Devil Bevan. He tries to fly one through the inside. We've got battles forming all over the circuit. B13 overtakes Fun Sideways. And I don't think that'll be too much fun. Fun Sideways, he'd much rather be in front of his competitor, who's now just taken 7th place away from him. And now let's just see if there will be a move into the final apex once again. B13 in fact goes very wide, and that wide runoff area luckily providing a bit of an escape route, but not for Fun Sideways. And well, that wasn't much fun at all, was it? As a scramble beckons in front of him. Lounger, Devil Bevan and company all racing for position. Down into turn 1 for the 3rd time this afternoon then. And Lounger with a late dive to the inside, looking to see if he can really start to capitalise on the disadvantages of the other cars, but the mishaps weren't quite enough to provoke a move, although 2 mistakes through turn 1 did. Lounger moves up into 8th position. Anxiety had to P5 as well. Great start to the championship there for Anxiety. We've already said that Anxiety's been a very competitive driver in recent weeks. He just needs to try and get a run of consistency going, and he's been struggling, but good to see him now back breaking into a regular top 5 form, it looks like. Battle for the lead also still very much underway. We're only 3 laps in. Cortese 1.9 seconds away from Lolin Fox at this stage. We have Dio in P3, Van Panther in P4, Xvati in P5, Suzuki holding strong there in 6th. With B13 in 7th, Lounger in 8th place. Fun Sideways still recovered to 9th, so it's not the end of the world there for Fun Sideways and his championship debut here today. Looking to really clench your wheel drive championship. It's going to show a kind of master of both disciplines here, but what I really love as well, there's a video in our top 5 moments of the week from last week, I believe, where we actually saw pretty much a side-by-side footage of the Evolution X versus the Subaru Impreza, and the difference was so minimal, yet the two cars handle so differently. So it'd be very exciting to see how they all fare a bit later on. Looking towards the end of lap number 3 now is still Lolin Fox in firm control as Cortese still can't quite pull alongside yet despite his best efforts. However, I don't think they need to be too hasty about this when you just look at the amount of time separating the top 5 now from first place back to Xvati in 5th. It's 33 seconds, a whopping amount of time in just 4 laps. Just going a little bit wide, he does indeed as Cortese tries to fling one up the inside. It's a defiant move, which is not there yet despite having the best attempt he's had all race afternoon long. And you've got to feel like there's going to be plenty more moves where that come from. As King Dio holds strong against Van Panther and Xvati, B13, Suzuki, Lounger and Litos all still vying for position as well, as Litos more importantly trying to hold off against Fun Sideways. Litos still trying to hold off that inside attack now, where Lounger's planted the car perfectly. It's Fun Sideways that's pulled off beautifully alongside, but Litos very well knows to have the inside line going into that final corner. And that one's going to prove so vital. He moves back across, he shouldn't have done that, and that may just allow Fun Sideways to sneak back through. The defensive line was not the one he should have taken there, but nonetheless, gets the job done. And over the start-finish line come the rest of the field as we've got a bit of a move there from Lounger going in towards the first corner. And up the inside should be a simplistic manoeuvre, but Suzuki LJ50 making things a little bit more difficult there for Lounger. And now Lounger and Suzuki have actually been able to catch B1386 up in front of them, I believe. So not a bad effort at all there. B13 only 5 seconds in front. Xvati though has called right onto the back of Dio and Van Panther, and this is going to help him so much as he tries to convert that top 5 form into podium form. Wouldn't that be a sight for sore eyes as well? It would have been a long time coming to see Xvati making a debut in a championship and converting it into a podium. And Lolin Fox still, after 5 laps, almost a quarter of the way through this race, is looking like the strongest competitor out there. 28 seconds back to the battle in 3rd position. All he's got to worry about is the man directly behind him, G. Cortese. A quick run through of the order then as we approach lap number 6. Lolin Fox still leading, Cortese in 2nd, King Dio P3 just about holding off Van Panther and Xvati at the moment, but that Goose chase is surely going to be continuing for quite a while into the future. P6 is B1386, Suzuki LJ50 in 7th, Lounger in 8th place. 9th place is Fun Sideways after breaking free from Litos. We've got Roberio P11, Andre Pasa 12th, PA 13th, and Devil Bevin, our only retirement of the day. That was on lap number 4 of 18, and he is P14. So unfortunately for him, it's not really been the dream start to a championship, but don't forget the one drop round could prove to be so vital for these drivers, as Lolling Fox once again just going a little bit wide there, just showing the door for Cortese should he be willing to open it, but doesn't quite have the confidence to go for a risky move like that just about yet. Now Cortese trying to go to the outside, I'm pretty certain, but well covered by Lolling Fox, your race leader. No rookie when it comes to defending here. Lolling Fox has been one of our very experienced members. He's proven a lot to us in the past, and we're sure he'll be doing that just about again here today. So quick update. Oh, Lounger's left the game. Lounger's retired. And to take a look back at the battle for P3 at the moment, we've still got Anxiety, Van Panda and King Dio all dueling very tensely right now. So we're going to come down to, I think, a case of a final lap attack. If all these cars stay at their current pace and stay the current timings apart, then they're only separated by just 2 seconds. And a bit wide there was the man in P4, Van Panther, and I think that's going to really be a bit of an issue there. Oh, and a big spin, no anxiety, and the top 5 form we were talking about as May of May just been trounced by the inconsistencies we were seeing earlier on in the seasons. I think the last couple of championships we've said that Anxiety definitely has the pace, he's got the potential, he's got the speed, the character. The racecraft is there, there's just a few inconsistencies and driver errors which is stopping him from being a good driver, converting into a great driver. That's exactly what has happened here. Anxiety sinks to P7 and his hopes for a podium finish may have just been swung away from him. And now the question is, who's going to be able to take it? Because King Dio under assault from Van Panther going in towards the final apex. Van Panther's not quite close enough to cut underneath without bouncing over those curbs. And luckily for King Dio, that's just about enough. However, going into turn 1, it could be a very different issue though. Into turn 1 goes Van Panther trying to take the position. Bit of bodily contact. But Van Panther's got it done. A very crafty manoeuvre there. He's been planning that for quite some time. Dio flashes the lights, obviously going to appeal that one to the world's end to try and get himself back in contention. But 13 minutes into what should be about a half-an-hour race right now, and Van Panther moves up into 3rd position. 19 seconds away from Cortese, but nonetheless, he'll be fighting for 3rd, I think, for quite some time. It's King Dio, and now B1's 386, and his nearest targets on the circuit. I think trying to gain 25 seconds without any sort of driver enforced error is going to be a very difficult task indeed. And now just trying to really understand what's going through the mind of Anxiety right now, because he's already got right into the back of Suzuki LJ50. And he's going to be so frustrated, hasn't he? He tries to go to the outside, turn the car inwards. However, not quite there just yet once again. And I'll tell you what, the drive he didn't get out of that penultimate corner has cost him very dearly. And Roberio always tries to make a move on Litos. Litos holding firm for just a tad longer as the cars go over the start-finish line to start their 9th lap out of the 18 here today. Listen to these Imprezas roar around the Edmonton airport is always a sound to be really excited over, as Suzuki just goes a bit too wide there going in towards his first apex, but again, nothing is really going to cost him any dramatic amount of time. However, Anxiety looking to really put the move on him as soon as possible. He's running out of time now if he wants to get himself back inside the top 5. He's already, let's just take a look as he goes up the inside there, and it should be a simple manoeuvre. Question is it, as Suzuki tries to bite back, but there's no venom to the bite. Anxiety moves on once again, and is now, and that's going to help him big time. He's in the top 5. Van Panther retires. And let's just take a look. Was there damage to the car, or was that a disconnect error? I think Van Panther has had some kind of disconnect, it seems. So that's sent Anxiety back to where he was before. His race has been very eventful here today. As Lolling Fox goes over the start-finish line, Cortese not that far away. But Cortese's still applying the pressure though, isn't he? Lolling Fox gets very sideways through turn number 1, and I'm sure Cortese's going to be all over that when it comes to trying to decide if he can just about get through or no. And now for the first time all race long's got a chance up the inside of turn number 4. Lolling Fox on the outside trying to defend it, and Cortese trying to push his way through to no avail though. Cortese got a much better drive though, didn't he, going off that left-hander? But I think Lolling Fox has already converted the next corner, and he's gone a bit wide again. Lolling Fox is making a lot of errors right now, and Cortese is feeding off them, isn't he? Swoops his car to the inside again, and once again, somehow just can't find the room. Edmonton's such a tight and twisty circuit, which is what makes this track so special, and why the Indy cars simply love coming here throughout the season. But today it's inherited by Subaru Imprezas, and Cortese just cannot find the time, he cannot find the track space to make a pass without it being at a hairpin like the one they're approaching now. They're about to start their 11th lap of 18. Lolling Fox, your leader. King Dio sits in P3. 4th position right now is going to be B1386. So don't forget guys, just taking a look at the YouTube comments there, and it does look a little bit too bland for my liking. So if you are watching this broadcast and you have a YouTube account, be sure to just drop a comment, get involved, talk to the other users watching the broadcast, and let us know your views on the incidents in the race so far, and who do you think is going to come away a winner here. You would say right now it's got to be Lolling Fox. He's held strong for 11 of the 18 laps, but Cortese, as of lately, has been finding a lot of holes. And the castle of Helm's Deep, the Lolling Fox has, is seemingly being bombarded at the moment, and there's going to be a lot of casualties, I think, inside. Let's just see what Cortese can do from his current position. And again, Lolling Fox going sideways, and talking about having fun sideways. Fun sideways is P7 at the moment, so not a bad debut at all in front of Ribeiro and Litos, who are still very much having a war amongst themselves. This time Lolling Fox and Cortese getting a bit closer. So into the final corner again, they'll start lap number 12 at very time, just about a few seconds away. Make their way onto the final straight now, and a very wobbly exit there. G Cortese 49, it's not something he intended on, I can tell you that for sure. B1386 also still chasing Dio. The chance for podium is not quite out of the window just yet. So we'll now have 7 laps to go until the end of the race. So Lolin Fox going strong and just a bit kicky out of the back of that corner, isn't he? Cortese again just looking for some sort of hole to penetrate. He just can't find the gap he needs right now. He's come close, in fact he's come very close, but Lolin Fox has always just had the advantage of Edmonton being very similar to a Sonoma, and in fact it is very difficult to pass here. The passes that you do make can often be reciprocated the very next corner, and you have to relinquish all of that hard work you've just given. And again, a bit of a drift there from Lolin Fox. I think Lolin Fox had a bit of a lock-up in the final turn. He did, and Cortese gets very close to him. This could be the turn number 1 where he goes for it. And immediately Lolin Fox tries to cut that slipstream in half, just moving away to the inside of the circuit, making sure that there is no inside pass. Don't want to make it easy, going back to the middle, undecided. Cortese going to the inside now, pass for the lead on that number 13. And it's not going to be made stuck again. Lolin Fox, very smart defending there. Cortese got a hell of a run, didn't he, going out of turn number 1 and into turn 2, be on the outside line. Can he make the move stick, however? I don't think there's a possibility for it to happen, but Lolin Fox, once again, some masterful defending there for him. And now Cortese looking much more, I think, feisty than he was a few laps ago. Now Lolin Fox has, I think, started making errors in what's simply been a much more consistent basis now. A consistency of inconsistency has got to be the way forward. And Cortese's going to be surely feeding off of that right now and looking to capitalise on every little error. And look how close he's getting. He's looking at some of the onboards right now. And Cortese's getting close in every time. We're only going to have 5 more laps remaining, so they've got to hurry up now. There won't be much time to pass otherwise, and when you think about it, it's not going to be, well, there's only 2 or 3 realistic opportunities. He can go for it. He wants the inside pass now. Lap number 14, surely he's going to get it up the inside. Not quite there yet. And Lolin Fox being very smart, but he's going to be feeling the pressure. The adrenaline will be pumping around his body furiously right now. He now darts to the inside again. Cortese looking in a much stronger position. Very hasty move, and has he finally got one stuck for the race lead? He's got to hold on to it. Lolin Fox trying to push him wide, but it hasn't worked. Cortese's in the lead. 5 laps to go, and G. Cortese is in the lead of the race. And that will be a massive sigh of relief that the hard work is not over yet. In fact, it's only just begun, but Cortese, for now, can just breathe a short moment and take a little breath to just recuperate, to find himself, to gather his thoughts, and to now drive 4 more defensive laps here around the Edmonton circuit and to take a victory. If he can do it, it will be thoroughly well deserved. Into the final corner goes Cortese. Again, big lock up now. It's the first time he's entered that corner on a defensive line. It'll feel different. Obviously, a natural driver's instinct after 25 minutes of driving attackingly is going to be to maybe take the inside line. And luckily, he's adapted very well at the moment. King Dio still battling hard there. And a bit of contact was made with B1386. Run through quickly of your order as it stands then. Cortese now leads and Lolin Fox is at a moment. He's 12 seconds back. We missed that. So I'm just taking a look at the Dio incident. Yeah, Lolin Fox has had a bit of a moment there. King Dio still fighting with B1386. Still very aggressive battling there. We got Anxiety P5, Suzuki in P6. 7th is Fun Sideways. 8th is Undroid Passer. 9th place, Riberio. 10th place, PA. 11th and out of the race are Lito 76. Van Panther in 12th, Lounger 13th, and Devil Bevin in 14th position as King Dio tries to get a bit of a move gunning now, but he can't quite get there yet. He's got to hold on. He's got to try and keep B1386 at bay. And it's now the calm before the storm is sort of brewing. We know there's a few battles left unsettled on the circuit at the moment. The battle for first could be one of them if Lolin Fox can get close enough. The battle for third is definitely one of them. And as you see, battle for 8th position as well, as Riberio is caught up very, very quickly on the back of Ondric Passer. So that's still left to be settled in the final few laps. But over the line goes G. Cortese, lap 16 of 18, then to 3 more laps remaining until we come to a conclusion as to who really is the king of Edmonton Indy. And then we head to round 2 of the all-wheel drive championship. But this weekend, however, we'll go back to Area 51 for the first round of the Out of This World Championship. But a nice little battle still developing for third as Dio holds off once again. The inside line becoming so more powerful right now than what it was at the start. It was a bit of a scramble at the very start of this race, and we did think for a minute that King Dio was into the lead. He had a fantastic launch off the line. And this could really benefit Anxiety as well if these two start fighting and they can't quite get the run they need, or they do collide. There's contact between the two of them, or maybe one of them retires. It will further propel Anxiety's race forward, and you could see him as high as third position. You never quite know how things like these are going to play out. But at number 17 beckons now. The penultimate lap of the afternoon for Cortese is just around the corner. Over the line he goes, so 2 more laps to go. And I think right now Lolin Fox has got to know if he can just get within about a second's range. I know it's tough, but at the rate he's gaining at the moment, if he can just get to within 1, maybe 2 seconds, getting onto that final straight and getting a nice draft, could get him alongside for a side-by-side photo finish and a chance at a race win here in the opening round of the season. They've driven nearly half an hour's worth of racing right now, and the 2 drivers still have a lot to be left settled. About 3 seconds is what separates the 2 protagonists at this stage. But I think, well, to be fair, looking at this lap alone, it's almost like Lolin Fox is just trying to settle for second. Unlike behind, where B13 is really still attacking King Dio with every last ounce of energy he has here. trying to get to the inside and again been denied. Can he just get to the inside line of the chicane? Not quite. So, down in towards the final corner for the penultimate time goes G. Cortese with a commanding 2-second lead. Doesn't sound like a lot, but compared to where he's been all race long, that 2 seconds is going to be so vital. Over the line he'll go. Then let's take a look at lap times where they were on the penultimate lap of the race. So you're looking at about a 1:46 in qualifying in terms of race pace, however. A 1:46.6 for Cortese and a 1:46.8 for Colin Fox. So Cortese goes into the final lap with a nice advantage.
This is the final lap. Keep it going.
So now diving their way in towards that very tight hairpin. For the first time, Cortese has just got a bit of breathing room, hasn't he? Despite the opposite lock there, that Subaru Impreza has been firmly under his control all race long. Dio still very much in front of B1386. P8 kissing that wall there out the final corner. Yeah, so final lap just started there for Mr. PA. Not a bad effort at all, is it? A top 10 despite a few retirements of some big names as well. Van Panther was running in P5. Lounger was up to P7, I believe, at one point. After what was a tremendous start, a couple of incidents saw him drop down the order. But now none of that matters because we only really need to focus on one man. And he's been trying so long to pass Colin Fox. He finally got the move done on lap 14 of 18. And since then, it's been a defensive drive to the end. But through the final corner comes G. Cortese 49. For the last time today, Cortese powers his way down the home straight here at Edmonton. What a drive he's had. G. Cortese 49 is going to win the race surely by some mile. There's still a long way, but he knows that even Colin Fox being a second away is not enough. Cortese has won the first round of the championship. He started in second, but he got himself to the front of the field. What a great job that was there by G. Cortese. Wasn't exactly an easy race. He had his work cut out for him the majority of the time, but thoroughly deserving win. Colin Fox takes a good P2. He'll be a bit disappointed, I think, having led a good 3/4 of the race, but still, second position this early on in the championship is nothing to be shied away at. King Dio takes third position with B13 taking fourth. Axvarti just crosses the line now in front of Suzuki, barely to take P5. Suzuki just finished 4/10 of a second away. That's remarkable. Fun sideways. P7 on a debut. Not bad at all. That's definitely one to watch in the future. Andre Parsec crosses the line in 8th place. And Ribeiro 9th, followed by Mr. PA in P10. And he just eases off the throttle there. Out of the race are Litos, Van Panther, Lounger, and Devil Bevin. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. We're heading right back to Area 51 for the 900 to 1100 A and B race of the opening round of the Out of This World Championship. From myself, Liam Jenkins, I will see you very shortly. Hello everybody and welcome back live to a very surreal Area 51 for the first round of the Out of This World Championship for 2014. The Maseratis are making their impression already. We've got the Maserati MC12 GT1s racing their way around a very desolate, a very surreal, very supernatural venue here today of Area 51 right in the heart of the Nevada desert. It's definitely going to be a race to remember. We've already seen today the challenges that this circuit can conjure up. I'm sure we're going to see plenty more as the session wears on. 18 laps of the circuit are going to be had in just a moment's time, but the question is who's really going to get the most of it come the end of the session. In terms of qualifying at the moment, it's Savario that's really getting the most of it. A 2 minute 14.807 is the fastest lap of the afternoon. A 2:15.6 from our team. It's John Daniels, the American, in P3 at the moment. Not a bad showing at all. Blitz in 4th. Flaren 89 rounds out the top 5. Let's take a look a bit further down the order. Jekyll in P6, Penge P7, 8th place is Fregel, 9th the Flow, 10th Andre Passer, 11th Mr. PA, and just joined the game now is Luke Sky 80. We'll see what he can do. Had a bit of a I think internet connection issue a moment ago. Let's just wait and see how things pan out. We've still got ourselves 4 minutes and 3 seconds left of qualifying left to go. So still plenty of action left to come, surely. Let's just wait and see who really can make the most of this qualifying session, as we say, because right now our team Metz is quite a way off. He's 8/10 off at the moment. John Daniels is 3/10 off of second position. There's still plenty to play for, but the field is so far spread out now, up until about P6, and that's when it all starts getting just a little bit closer. But in terms of the actual track time right now, and Blitz just goes into the wall, and that is something that we're going to be used to seeing here today, and it's that funny corner again, isn't it, where he's had the issue. Just before, I think, turn number 16 is where he's had a bit of an off. He's luckily recovered it, some traffic up in front, but nothing that's really going to halt his progress or stop his lap time whatsoever. I believe it was just coming out of turn number 16, he's had a bit of a spin. We saw that during the races earlier on as well, that corner, and the corner just before going in towards the airport hangar as well. It's what's causing a lot of troubles here today, and the interesting thing will be is to see if that sky slowly does start to fade to darkness later on. So if it does, Area 51 with a circuit as flat as it is, if it starts getting cold and the track temperature starts to drop, then we really are going to see some interesting results. Well, the car's pretty much in a straight line at the moment. Taking a look, there's a good 4 or 5 of them all grouped together. But RT Metz 92 has definitely been in control of this session from the get-go. After pipping Savario just a moment ago, he's now up by 0.2 of a second. Savario with another car in front. Oh, I may have just jinxed because he spun off directly in front of him, so scrap that point entirely. But you can just see there, Savario making his way towards the end of the lap now. Not long left to go in his attempt at all, and as the session is about to come to an end, he's going to try and make this one count. The time for a banker lap is far surpassed him. If he wants to make something count, he better hurry up and do it. He just makes his way now down that long back straight before the blind chicane. And he can't quite get what he needs to. That was a very quick line though, nonetheless, about 170 miles per hour through there, so looking very strong, but there was a slight hesitant lift, I felt. You can see the gleaming stars in the sky. Are they stars? Are they UFOs? It's something that these drivers shouldn't be pondering right now. They've got to put all their attention into what's going on right at the back end of this circuit. You've got 4 cars. One of them's just had an off. And who is that? Let's find out. It's Mr. PA that's just had a moment, so surely destroyed any chance he has of improving his time. And of course, another 2 minutes in, and this session will be over. And there's the corner that's causing a lot of the issues here today. Through that hangar, flat out, he's trying to get to about 140 miles an hour as you send the car going through there. But by doing that, it really does run a high risk because you run so far to the outside. You know you can take out those cones and not lose any time. So the further you go to the outside, then the further issues you're going to cause and the closer you're going to get to the outside wall. So through the nifty chicane goes Savario. He's got to find something now. He should get one more attempt after this though. So it's not all doom and gloom at the moment. But over the start-finish line he will go. Let's just wait and see if this is going to be enough to get it back in the swing of things on pole position. No, it's not. Oh, and RT Metz is 7 tenths away. RT Metz finds 5 tenths of a second that lap. Absolute stunning job there by RT Metz. Is watching Severio now, diving in towards the right-hander. Again, a little bit of traffic up in front, but he should come into direct contact with it for a while. And RT Metz is back in the pits. So RT Metz will not be attempting another lap here today. The session about to expire, of course. Indeed, I think it just has, as I've said that. We've got a good 5 or 6 cars in the pits. The flow still looking to try and set a convincing lap time at the moment, however. And then Penge also right in the thick of the action now. He's trying to chase down a car who is Jekyll 66. Not something you ideally want to be doing around a circuit like Area 51. Traffic can quite often become an issue, but one tiny mistake, you've got to get all the way back to the start-finish line to rectify it. It's not like a Donington where it's just a few seconds. If you crash at the start of the lap, you've got another 2 minutes before you have yet another attempt at trying to rectify it. And this late in the session as well, you need the perfect exit of every corner, and with Jekyll 66 parked directly in front of him, it's really going to be a tough chore indeed. By the way, not many corners left to go there. Let's just find the car who's still remaining on the circuit at the moment, about to set their next lap time of the afternoon. It's going to be Blitz from P7 to break that trend at the moment. Then over the start-finish line he'll go now. Is this enough to get him into the third row of the grid? Oh, he goes fourth. Big result there for Blitz. And let's just see what Severio will do. He's approaching now. Are we going to see any more late changes? I think the flow's just gone third. Penge up to fourth, so a big changes towards the end of this session. Will Severio go pole? No, he won't, but he takes 5 tenths out. So RT Metz will start from pole position. So it's RT Metz from Severio, then the flow, then Penge, and then Blitz. A shaken up top 5. Not many people expected it. What will happen during this thrilling race? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with you shortly. Championship, and what an event it's going to be. A late blunder of qualifying times saw our Team S take pole, but only just. Severio was so close. Question is, can he maintain into turn one? The flow goes to the outside. Jack with a very distinct start at the back of the field. Penge trying to go to the inside of Severio after a long run. Of course, the corner flux does not really support that kind of move, and off into the background goes Penge, and just catching a bit of the Nevada sand under his wheels, and that's not going to help him at all. But the field fly down in towards turn number 2 for the first time today. Severio with a distinctive lead at the moment. Our team at P3. It was silly, just got passed there by Android Passer. Still no casualties, a nice gaggle of cars in the midfield. John Daniels down to 9th, so not been too much of a great start by the American as Blitz tries to go round the outside, but to no avail just yet. He'll have the inside line for the next corner if he was going to attempt to pass. He does, and that sends him up into 9th position. And of course, a lot to play for here today as well. Let's just see what Severio is going to be capable of. He's already got himself 3 seconds back to the flow. So absolutely flying at the moment. Let's just wait and see what the overall response is going to be from the rest of the field though, because it's still pretty much a game of cat and mouse at the moment. Blitz P9, Jekyll P10. Let's just see what Jekyll can do. Can't really get to the inside at the moment, but Flower89 tries to make a pass on Luke Sky to not quite the extent he would have liked to there, and Jekyll with a bit of a spin, he got connected as well, but Jekyll should be able to have enough room to turn that car around. He does. It was Penge, the other car involved, and Penge had one amazing qualifying session as well, so his race has taken a toll for the worst unfortunately. But Flaren again at the inside of Luke Sky into that very tricky left-hander, and he does very well to avoid the inners of that hanger. That could have been like a scene from Fast and Furious, but Flaren will not stop the assault here on Luke Sky. And now Blitz fancies a bit of the action as they come towards the end of lap number 1 and 14 here at area 51. Luke Sky with a bit of a lag issue. I think that's going to help Flaren out a lot, but now Blitz goes very late up the inside, and now they're surely side by side through the tightest part of the circuit. Is they're slicing and dicing. But Flaren just about holds on to the position. Oh yeah, Luke Sky out of the race then, so I'm assuming that would be under just a simple disconnect or a connection issue for him. Technical difficulties for Luke Sky, not what he wanted today, but nonetheless, we'll see what he can do in the second round. His first round, I'm assuming he would use that as a drop round. But coming towards the end of lap number 2 in just a moment's time, we got about halfway through the lap. And already the field is starting to spread out now. Severio with a commanding 3-second lead. The flow's been the only real man to put any kind of dent in that at the moment. Well done, Drake Passer 5 seconds back. Mr. PA 11 seconds back. And now just taking a little bit of a guess as to how fast these guys are pushing right now. John Daniels back up to P5. Gives you an idea of how his race is transformed. He was as low as 9th at the end of lap number 1. So to see him now recuperate back to where he is now is not a bad effort at all. Still plenty can happen in this race, and Andre Passer now approaching the flow at a very rapid rate, in fact faster than the flow is catching Severio. And coming over the line now again, Severio now with quite a big lead. The flow second, as we say. Andre Passer still in P3 at the moment, not done an entirely bad job. Still going to try and really find something in his middle stint though. That's to the rest of the field as they make their way through turn number 1 for the 3rd time out of the 14 today. But Blitz and PA going to be the two drivers who could really shake this up. Blitz was as high as P4 at one point. It's sunk down to 7th since we last had a quick check on him, but nonetheless, I'm sure we'll still be in very high spirits coming off the end of this one. Right, his middle stint anyway, still being chased down by Mr. PA, but I think he can't handle, I don't think, at the moment. Oh, Blitz does go a bit wide, and PA looks to try and capitalise, but he's just not quite got the speed he needs just yet. It's crazy how close these guys are trying to run to the barriers just to gain any kind of advantage over their competitors. It's really scary how much they're willing to put on the line, really. The entire race, essentially, as Blitz holds on quite well, but look at the advantage PA has gained over the last few corners, darts to the outside. He had quite a lot of run-off area to delve into should he needed it, but PA does not. The move is unsuccessful, and Blitz keeps his current position in P7 as PA just goes again a little bit wide into the barrier. So a quick rundown of your order as we come towards the end of lap number 3. Just a few more corners to go until Severio crosses that line. So Severio leads from the flow. Andre past a P3, who's still very much a factor in this one. We've got Andre, just looking behind there actually, it's John Daniels, who's done a really good job of moving up through the field. Now up to P4, just a second away from that podium fight. Our teammates P5, Flower 89 in P6, Blitz up to 7. PA as low as 8th place, Penge down to 9th after a good qualifying, Jekyll 10th, and Luke Scott out of the race with Fregel in 11th. And I'm telling you what, that battle for the podium is going to be pretty intense right about now. Especially if John Daniels can get close enough again. John has got a lot faster over recent months, but all of those inconsistencies still haunt him race to race, and it's still the same errors that tend to crop up from time to time. We'll see how we can handle this today as we go about a tenth of the way through the race. Not a tenth, sorry, as we just take a look down. What's going to be happening between Mr. PA and I think that's Blitz. Yes, it is Blitz. Up to P7, but able to try and snatch it from him. Penge watches on in the distance quite hesitantly. I don't think if there's a crash between those two, it's only going to be a matter of time before Penge tries to capitalise on it. Seeing the track varies from such a wide space of tarmac to such a skinny and threatening space of tarmac into just a few seconds. It really is a very varied track here. And again, one still, the drivers are all still adjusting to being a relatively new release. They're all in the same boat. As PA now darts one up the inside. And he should be able to make that one stick. Yes, he does. Blitz tries to get the cut back and almost loses the car completely. And instead, he's going to have to settle for losing the position. But still, Blitz not entirely giving up just yet. He's got back to the inside, and PA's going to try and sweep. Oh, what a move by PA! But he's lost the back end, and he pirouettes. Oh, and that could have been absolutely beautiful. It would have been one of the top 5 moments of the week, without a shadow of a doubt. You can see what he tried to do. But that corner, once again, the entrance going into the hangar is just so deadly, and PA was on the receiving end of it. We'll see if he can push his way back through the field, but that's a real shame. That would have been one of the moves of the championship. So just trying to establish as to where PA is in the circuit right now. He hasn't really dropped a terrible amount of time. He's only 2 seconds behind Blitz at the moment, but the main crux of the action still going from that podium battle, which has really started to come out in full force as of late. And John Daniels really does start to try and apply the pressure onto the back of Ondrej Parser. They're on lap 5 of 14 right now, and you can just see in front the Flow's trying to escape, but 10 seconds away from Severio at this early stage during the race. Severio's had a blinding start, to say the least. No hesitation in his mind that he was going to come out and win this race defiantly. And the Flow, Ondrej Parser, John Daniels, RT Metz and Flaren all still waiting to try and capitalise. Wait on errors, but the lights come on there for RT Metz's car. I just think that right now, it's all a case of playing the waiting game. It's drivers versus the tarmac, as opposed to drivers versus other drivers, I think. The environment has such a big factor to play here today. It already's played a huge one, especially as the race wears on and the temperatures do start to die off a little. Those corners like that fast left-hander there, entering the hangar is going to be a lot harder. And John Daniels into third, Ondrej Parser again. That corner into the hangar. It's happened once again. Daniels snatches that opportunity and grasping it with both hands. And now looking back at what Ondrej Parser's doing, because now he's into the clutches of RT Metz and Flaren 89. RT Metz still keeping strong at the moment. Ondrej Parser's got to pull away because those two black and blue Maseratis are not looking too friendly out there. Penge does a time of a 2:16.5, quicker than those two cars in front of him. He's 11 seconds away from them at present, but gaining on them. And with times like that, it won't be too long until before he does come into contact once again. And hopefully, in a metaphorical sense, we don't want to see him in yet another incident. He had a good qualifying session. It was soon turned upside down on him, then reversed, as he had a bit of a poor start to the race. But it's all starting to be the calm before the storm now. We've got that battle still raging on for second, as John Daniels has really impressed me today. He's caught the flow. He's on for a good podium as we approach the halfway stage, about 2.5 laps until we do. But he's not done a bad job whatsoever so far. Not really a great qualifying, a much better race start. It's kind of sunk a bit down to P7. And then just simply capitalising on opportunities. Some smart craftsmanship. Season takes second. The Flow goes wide and John Daniels is in second. The Flow spins, in fact. He's got to get that turn round. He's now behind Flaren 89. He's down to P5. But as the stars start to come out a little bit, you can just see the atmosphere getting a bit darker as Flaren 89 tried to move up the inside. And I think you can definitely see that the temperatures are starting to drop just a little. Flaren on the opening round of this championship looking for a top 5. But John Daniels, we've said all along, has improved. He's got much better over recent months, but he's just a bit inconsistent. He's looking to prove that wrong this season and prove that he's the most complete package that he's ever been as he comes over the line in P2 to start his 7th lap of 14. Not a bad shout at all. He's 16 seconds in front of Ondrej Parser. He's 12 behind Severio. He was 3/10 slower that time round, but he can take second position. I'm sure he'll be more than satisfied with that one going into the second round at Donington. Metz and Flaren now starting to engage in a little bit of warfare as well. Those two have been pretty close all afternoon long, but I think they're about to get just a little closer as you can just see the sky start to take a tinge of grey to the scenery now. And Area 51 at night, of course, is a very haunting place to be around, I should imagine. Flaren and Metz still pretty close. Metz on the defending end of things at the moment, but Flaren's got a very good run going down that straight into that chicane where you can't really see the apex. It's all very blind. You can just see that 165 miles an hour is the speed that Flaren carried. Much wider line, trying to get the drive out of the corner. You know what he's trying to do here. And it's working as well. He's getting a lot of time already, so going towards the left-hander. And the flow and Penge now starting to catch these guys as well. This midfield battle has really heated up. But now, as you can just try and look at the sky, making sure there's no UFOs watching over this race at the moment. The newest addition to the Simraceway track library, of course. Don't forget that you can really take control of this if you want to. Just head over to simraceway.com and you too can experience the supernatural wonders of Area 51 as Andre Passes had a bit of a problem. And I think he's just let another car through. Now he's separated between those two black and blue Maseratis. You've got the flow there as well watching on. You've got Penge in the distance with a bit of a distant spectator's view, but the Area 51 circuit available for free today in both configurations. It's got the short course and the long course. 20 corners and just under 5 miles of tarmac in the heart of the Nevada desert in the top secret government location known as Area 51. And don't forget, you may even see a few aliens out and about in your travels, so if you want to check that out, be sure to head over to simraceway.com for a free download. And you can just see there's some nice triangle shapes. There's a bit of a diamond of ships flying around, but an update of the order at the moment as Severio is on a bit of a charge, isn't he? 17 minutes in, 12 seconds in front of John Daniels. The gap hasn't really changed. It's sustained at about 12 to 15 seconds between the two protagonists at the front of the field. Not a bad effort at all there by the American, but Severio looking to continue from where he left off last weekend at the climax of the Performance Driving Championship. Severio looking to take another victory here today. John Daniels second, RT Metz looking very strong, still in third place. The midfield battle still getting ever more present as Andre Passer dropped to P4. Flaren 89 is under pressure from the flow and Penge, who's got a real shot of a top 5 now. Penge's race did not go to plan at the start of this one, but as we're just over halfway, Penge had to lift off there as they go through the hangar and now tries to go to the outside. The dim lights are not helping these cars' situation at all. Trying to go to the inside, and his catch racing becomes the catch fencing, I should say, becomes so hard to distinguish. And look how tightly congested it is as they go through that very tight chicane. It's very difficult to get more than, well, just one car through there, let alone two side by side. These cars have got to be so tedious. So careful on the throttle, especially on the exit. You look at forward as well. Andre Passer trying to pass RT Metz into turn 1. We'll sweep it around the outside. It'll be quite an ambitious manoeuvre. He'll run out of road before long, but he makes it stick. But that long group of cars may just be getting a new contender as Blitz just does one of his personal best times of the afternoon last time round. Only 7 seconds behind Penge now, and look at the view he's got up in front of him as well. As soon as the sky starts turning a bit darker, a bit of a lock-up there. And that was the Flow's had a bit of a moment. I'll say bit of a moment, that's a huge moment. And he's lost all those positions. Blitz trying to, oh, he's got a big problem. Yeah, the Flow's pirouetted, there's no rear wing, and that Maserati's out of the race. The Flow is out. And just like that, you think a race is going to be turned around. An entire plot twist happens. The Flow retires. So yeah, the flow completely disconnected, and he's obviously not happy with that at all. Penge looking like he's got a bit of a troubling issue as well. Blitz though, getting ever closer now, just 4 seconds away. But Blitz really catching these guys. As we said, he had a great qualifying session in his debut here in his championship, but his race soonly faded away. He's now swiftly got it back under what could be competitive circumstances once again, but he's got to really try and capitalise on any more errors these drivers make. There's 4 battling over the last podium position inherited by our teammates right now. John Daniels makes his way through lap traffic and is now about 17 seconds away from Severio, so he's not in the most idyllic position at the moment, but nonetheless, John Daniels still pushing on very hard. He was 6/10 slower that lap, Daniel race leader, but nonetheless, he has obviously practiced very hard for this event today, and his consistency starting to improve. Lap 10 of 14, our team to the inside of Ondrej Passer. Not quite, Ondrej sweeps around with a defiant swift of the sword there, saying no. We've got Penge and Flower in there, Blitz getting closer and closer each time. And these GT1s really giving us an impressive show here today. And we're sort of spreading out. Our teammate still settling under Ondrej Passer's control as he goes wide. He may have just lost control. And our teammates having to dive well to the inside. This is exactly the beauty of this circuit. Look how much room they've got to run with here on the Area 51 runway. Our teammates has got so much room on the inside, but as they go to the chicane, it's all going to vanish quicker than you can say. Alien life force. And he should have the momentum. He does have the position. Ondrej Passer down to 4th. Penge still 5th. Flaren in 6th. Blitz is 7th. Watching on eagerly. Just waiting for that prime opportunity. Not long left in this race at all. Looking at about 5 laps. Ondrej Passer trying to go around the outside of Penge there. That's going to be an interesting outcome indeed. But Penge holds his ground now up to P4, of course. Sweeping it round. Ondrej Passer may just have a bit too much vision there, though. And he should have it done. Penge will be on the inside for the next corner, however. And always a bit of contact there. And Penge with a big slide. Oh, and he can't control it. And that's the same corner we saw just a moment ago. What ended the Flows race. Penge now down to P7 and Blitz up to 6th. Blitz is now up into a good position, just 1 place away from a top 5. Flaren still trying to push on now as Ondrej Passer gets his way back into P4, as we've said. He's now got himself back in that sandwich of black and blue Maseratis. Although, it's all sort of separated out once again, isn't it? John Daniels, 26 seconds away now from your race leader. And that long line of cars maybe picking up even yet another individual, as Penge, of course, dropped off a moment ago, looks to rejoin the train. We've got a car off. It is Flaren 89. That's a big incident there for Flaren. Simply lost the back end. He's down to P7, and yet another casualty is claimed by the life forces at Area 51. And oh, look at that. That Maserati has got no downforce whatsoever. The GT1 now with a, well, pretty much as much downforce as your Tesco trolley. And a bit of an off there for our teammates as well, but we come towards the end of this one, just a few more laps to go. Saverio still in firm control at the moment, isn't he? About 15 seconds away from the nearest competitor, who is still John Daniels, who's done, as we say, an emphatic job, I think we can describe it as now. He's got 18 seconds back to our teammates. What a performance by the young American. A big learning curve for him, and he's still about a second a lap slower now, but maybe just pacing himself. There's no need to push. 27-second lead in front of the man in third, 22 behind the man in first. No need to push now with only a few laps remaining. Just pace yourself, make sure you get that car to the start-finish line at the end of lap number 14 and claim the big points, especially a second. I think it's a second place at a track like this is going to be so needed. When you travel to tracks afterwards, such as Donington and Silverstone before coming back here, this is easily the most difficult on the calendar just because of how new it is. No driver has really had a lot of experience with it. It hasn't been out very long. Drivers are still adapting to the changing conditions, trying to find the best racing line, and it's all one big learning curve, and John simply has been a master of that today. Flaren, though, still trying to continue. Just noticed that. I thought Flaren was trying to get back to the pits. In fact, I think he may be. He's down in P8 at the moment, limping round like a wounded antelope. He's just trying to enter turn number 19 now. I think he's just a bit too far adrift to get anything out of this race. But a finish is a finish, and you don't know what the rest of your championship could go like, especially knowing you have a drop round. If you have 3 insane rounds where you get 3 podiums and you can drop this one off, it won't be the end of the world. So Flaren is making sure he picks up some points at least, so it's not all doom and gloom, and he has to get a good result come race number 4. He makes his way back to the pit lane, and I think that's going to be possibly the greatest achievement he has now, to just make sure he gets that car back out in front of Mr. PA, who's still going strong in P9. He's about a minute away. Depends how long this pit stop's going to take. And Blitz in P5 now. We said he's going to be tipped to get top 5. He's joined that train in 7th and now splits it in half as he looks on to Ondrej Passer, who's been the consistent man in P4. Nightfall makes its return here at Area 51, and look at that beautiful night sky. Absolutely stunning scenes here at the Area 51 circuit. But it's our teammate still in control of that final podium spot going in towards the penultimate lap, and Ondrej Passer goes wide. And let's just see if Blitz is going to be able to take control of that one or no. I don't think he's going to be able to go for the move. Is he? He's going to risk it anyway? Not quite. He's going to be so careful. And now going in towards turn number 2, our team X has lost a lot of time considering Ondrej Passer had a bit of a moment. That train of 4 cars still the most intense battle out there. Jekyll's had a spin, and that's going off for turn number 1. The grip levels must be quite low at the moment. Jekyll does well again to get the car back on circuit, but Ondrej Passer's off! Ondrej Passer, the same corner. We saw the incident earlier on. Ondrej Passer's lost the rear wing. He's lost 5th position, and he spins again. That could be race over. He's elected to pit. He doesn't want to, obviously. Oh, he has! He's at the race! So Ondrej Passer, right before the climax, has retired. 28 minutes into the race, and Ondrej Passer calls it a day, unfortunately. A silly error that's so easily done. And that is absolute heartbreaking for him. Peng up to P5, so quick update then. We've had a few retirements, haven't we? Let's just recap the current order. It is still Saverio that has that mighty now 20-second lead. John Daniels P2, P3 our teammates, P4 is Blitz, P5 still belongs to Peng at the moment, but Blitz still potentially could be fighting for a podium going in towards the final lap here. And don't forget, the next race will be 22 laps long, so the drivers will still have a further 9 laps at the moment as they go across the start-finish line to start their final endeavour.
This is the final lap. Keep it going.
Oh, Blitz has been passing the inside of turn 1, and Penge goes through. So Penge sends him rocketing down back to P5. Blitz, however, back on the counter-attack. He's a bit too far away, but you know what? Maybe just play it safe. Because with Jekyll 66 about a minute away, there's nothing to really fight for. Just wait for the opportunity to present itself. And now they enter turn number 6, and our teammate has got control of that firmly at this stage. John Daniel's still second, but Severio, who's got such a commanding lead up in front at the moment, is only about a minute away from the finish of the race. Blitz still fancies his chances though. Look how gorgeous that night sky is. Absolutely mesmerising. As through the chicane they go. Blitz needs to try and find some sort of momentum now on Penge. Goes to the inside. It's a late manoeuvre. He's almost caught the catch fence and he's so close. I think a little bit of a touch there, but there was nothing too drastic. Blitz now tries to cut. And oh, Penge's at a moment, and the lack of grip has caught him out. The night conditions, the freezing cold track. And that Maserati just snapped the other way. The opposite lock was strong. Penge is able to continue. But now we've got to take a look at Severio because he's just going through the final corner now then. Severio's already had a fantastic race. A brilliant job overall. Dominating performance, 14 laps in the lead and a pole position. Severio wins the opening round of the Out of This World Championship 2014. What an emphatic display that was. But a massive congratulations to this man. John Daniels takes P2, his finest ever result in a championship. Utterly brilliant there by the young American. And now we wait for this train of cars to come through. Our teammate goes wide. Can Blitz capitalise on it? It'll be a drag race to the line. He's got it. I think Blitz gets it. Blitz in his debut. Blitz gets the podium. By barely anything at all. He was 7th when he joined that train. We said he might get a top 5. And he's proved everyone wrong. The racecraft, absolutely perfect. He got the podium. Our teammates took 4th. Penge took 5th. Jekyll 66 will take 6th with Mr. PA in 7th. And out of the race were Andrek Passer, Flower 89, The Flow, Luke Sky and Fregel. And that brings us to the end of round 1 of the Out of This World Championship. We've still got one more race left for you from Area 51. It's a 900 to 1100A race. The big boys come out to fight the aliens in Mission Impossible to try and take a win here at Area 51. My name's Liam Jenkins and we'll be right back with you very shortly. over. So we're now just literally waiting for the drivers to go across the line. I think a lot of them are already back in the pits, having made a few errors. Only 2 cars back out on the circuit. But Lounger is going to cross the line now in P1. He's surely going to extend that time. He doesn't. It stays the same. And I think the majority of the cars back in the pits. Lolling Fox still out there in P6. And through that nifty little chicane once again. It's going to be very tight end to the lap here for both Lolling Fox and the man he's chasing, Jamie 1. He makes his return there to competitive racing. And Lolling Fox can't improve. Jamie 1 also stays 7th. I think that's going to just about bring us towards the end of the session in a minute. AZ Best from P11 goes through turn number 19 now. Flicks the car left for turn number 20. Let's see if he can improve from P11. Over the line he goes, and he goes 10th, so he does improve, beating Lazarus slightly. Severius stays 13th. John Daniels does not set a time at all, which is very bizarre, but that's the end of the qualifying session. We'll be right back with you for the full 22-lap race. Don't go anywhere. Hello everybody and welcome back live to your Simraceway Out of This World Championship for 2014. It was Lounge who took pole position. The question is, will he be able to take the victory here today? We've already seen Severio do it. Let's just wait and see. Hello everybody and welcome back live to your Simraceway Out of This World Championship then for 2014. What a qualifying session it's been and what a weekend it's been so far. I've seen some breathtaking racing around Area 51 and surely now it's only going to get better. 22 laps of racing about to unfold. Will Lounge be able to convert it into a win just like Severio the race before, or is there going to be a twist in the tail? Away we go. Big start by Lounge with a couple of cars already starting to the outside to try and move their way through the field as they're going towards the first corner for the opening time today. It's all very clean through the majority of the field. A couple of cars running onto the sand, but nothing out of the ordinary. So into turn 2 they come, and already a big lunge there by Gvartis. He tries to go up the inside there of AGO6, but to no avail again, and already they're trying to get a good start. They know how difficult it is to attack on this circuit. You can get yourself in a good starting position. You won't need to worry about the rest that happens to you. I'm always trying to dart across. They don't want to let Algie get away. They know how quick he is. They know how dangerous the man is. You want to try and keep him within your sights, within slipstream range, so that should he make a mistake, you can capitalise. But it's so difficult to do on a circuit as demanding as this one. But the front three really pulling away though. Kepi the Legend, Pro Drifter 1000, starting to give your race leader a run for his money. An extremely fast tries to join in the back of these guys as well. And look at the three behind them. Oh, we've had contact in the midfield, and that was Xvarty that's taken a knock. And he spins out, luckily avoiding everyone else. I think the car cosmetically looks okay, but nonetheless, a very big, well, I'd say fiery in a metaphorical sense, of course. It was a big incident for him. But he gets the car going back again. He's not that far away from some cars in front of him. John Daniels goes to the inside. Lolin Fox in 8th position right now, doing everything he can to just push himself forward, get past John Daniels, the race winner of, well, I say the race winner, the second place man, I should say, of last race. The race winner, interestingly enough, is right behind John Daniels. So Severio took the victory last time out. Seacombe and AZ Best there, side by side. Seacombe sweeping it round to secure 11th position. Extremely fast in P4, looks towards Pro Drifter to some support maybe, looking to see how he approaches the track to see if he can capitalise on any mistakes at all, but there's been nothing there just yet as they come towards the end of lap number 1. So it's still all about Lounge though, isn't it? And that's not what the two guys behind him wanted. He's got 3 seconds at the end of just one lap. A lap of 2 minutes 17.920 there for him. And that's not really going to be beneficial to Kepi or Pro Drifter, who are now seemingly locked in a battle over second position. And don't forget, it's over AGO6, Jamie 1, We've got a spin in the background, and that is Seacombe. So Seacombe's had a bit of an off. Luckily, he's done it in a very wide part of the track. He's able to spin the car back around, and DiMaggio may just try and give him a run for his money and punish him for it, as Seacombe vigorously tries to weave those tyres and get some heat flowing back into the front end of the car. Meanwhile, Varty recovering from his incident earlier on. Now P12, looking at the back of AZ Best now. Wondering if he can perhaps make some sort of move into it. And AZ Best now doing the very best he can, if you pardon the pun, to defend from Varty, but Area 51, just one of those circuits where you never quite know how things are going to pan out. 20 turns, we've got another spin there. That's Lolin Fox going backwards down the circuit. That's not the way he anticipated his race would go. It's only the early stages. We've still got about another 40 minutes worth of racing for these Maseratis, but even so, he's going to wait till the very back of the queue now. He's got the car back, pointing in the right direction, when unfortunately for him, it's not been the best of starts. And talking of best of starts, I think Lounger has possibly had his greatest start imaginable. 2.5 seconds as they come towards the end of lap number 2. Kepu the legend still kind of close to him though, being hounded very closely by Pro Drifter. Extremely fast in P4, just keeping a very close eye on what those in front of him are doing. With that very narrow chicane, watch out for the fencing on the right hand side. The track narrows up so quickly and then spreads right out once again as you go back down this main straight to come towards the end of lap number 2. AG06 P5, Jamie number 1, crosses the line in 6th position in front of Lazarus and John Daniels. So the man who took the world by storm last race, he's been under quite a lot of criticism recently for not being the most consistent driver around, but John Daniels nonetheless had a very strong outing. That 14 lap race just a few moments ago, he's now got the race winner of last race directly behind him. So the 900 to 1100 B race rivalry continues as Severio opens up to the inside going in towards turn number 2, and it's going to be a very easy manoeuvre. Signed, sealed, delivered. Daniels tries to come back on the inside. Severio should theoretically have more drive coming out of the corner, but let's see what Daniels can do. He tries to position his car at the inside. He should have the move done. He has indeed. So John Daniels restakes his claim. Got back in 8th position. Look behind those guys as well. You've got Varty really flying through the field. Oh, and he's got a bit of... Oh, he's hit the wall. We thought that was a lag spike, but the front left tyre is completely gone. The wheel has come off of the rim, and Varty's Maserati has now become a Reliant Robin. So it's not been the most idyllic route for him, is it? I know he's still sat there right now, the wheel rotating round. Varty, I think maybe just wanting deep down for that engine to come back to life, but I think deep down we all know it's not going to happen. But John Daniels, 10th now, having been repassed by Severio, who's now at 8th position. So Severio, the race winner, as we say, off the last race, moving his way through the field quite nicely, cutting his way through. But Jamie goes through the hangar, the corner that's caught out, I think, a lot of people here today, especially in the 2 earlier races. It's such a difficult corner. You're flat out doing about 160 miles an hour through there, depending on the line you take. Other drivers between 130 and 140, but to try and get that much power down through a corner that quick is so difficult indeed, especially if you've got quite a low downforce setup. But let's see what Lazarus is doing here, because Severio could very well be up to P7 there. He's got the pass around the outside. And yeah, there was no hesitation there. AZ Best was simply left staggered. There was nothing he could do. As John Daniels down to 9th, struggling it seems through the chicane. He's got a lack of drive almost at the back of that car. He's not really looking as competitive as he was a few moments ago. John Daniels now will go down the main straight once again. Seacombe P10 chasing him as we approach lap number 4 out of 22. That midfield battle getting ever more competitive, isn't it? Extremely fast all over the back of him right now. The 2 black and blue Maseratis in an alternating pattern, separated by Jamie 1 at the moment, who's had not a bad return at all to competitive racing here in Simraceway. And a nice move up the inside there by Jamie 1. Try and maintain that position, because Pro Drifter is going under a lot of pressure there. The man who was fighting the P2 a few moments ago must have had some sort of issue, unfortunately for him. But an update now on what's happened to Varty. It turns out that his game minimised, so it wasn't a technical issue. By the time he reopened the game, he was stuck in a wall, and there's not really any way you can go with 3 wheels on a Maserati. So unfortunately for him, that's his race ended prematurely. Don't forget, they do get 1 drop round in this championship, so as long as Xvarty can break this run of inconsistency, then he could very well be a championship contender. We all know he's got the pace. Now you can just see Pro Drifter being attacked there by Jamie, who's on the outside. It'll be a nice move. I think Pro Drifter's just slightly backed off. It's extremely fast now. Is up into P5, so not a bad return to championship form for him either. Let's go through the hangar again, minus sand as well. Look how close you come to that right hand side. Now trying to park his way up the inside there of Jamie 1, and that was never really going to work through there. They've got to be quite careful when it comes to incidents like that. Pro Drifter, heavy braking, just trying to keep an eye on what they're doing. He doesn't really want to risk anything too much. And talking of a risk, Jamie 1 has just lost potentially 2 positions. Indeed he has, a bit of a wobbly entrance in towards turn number 17. You've seen him drop back a couple of positions, and oh, he's spun completely. So a couple of positions could transpire into a couple of more if he's not careful. Easy Best is only a few seconds down the road, and there could be some lasting damage to the front end of that Maserati. I think right now he may just get away with it. And Seacombe just trying to chase John Daniels. We'll give you a quick update now as to lap times as well. Next time they pop around, but Lounger is still in the lead of the race now by 9 seconds over Kepu the Legend. AGO6 sitting quite healthily in P3 at the moment, but defending quite hard off extremely fast. We've got Pro Drifter trying to cling with these guys, so he's lost that early run of competitiveness in 5th position. Jamie 1 in 6th. AZ Best 7th in front of John Daniels in 8th. Seacombe 9th, your race winner from the B race. Severio is rounding out your top 10 at this stage. DeMagico in 11th. 12th is Lolin Fox. 13th is Lazarus 16. And of course, out of the races himself and Anxiety. Lolin Fox also joins me. Believe it, Lolin Fox is actually in the pits at the moment, but we'll wait and see for confirmation. Lounger now, as we say, 10 seconds in front of the nearest car. Kepu still providing to be kind of the law enforcement team there. You look a bit further behind, extremely fast, dueling away with AGO6, and AGO6 has just lost the position. So extremely fast has carved his way through the field like a hot knife through butter, and now finds himself within a shout of a podium here. It's not exactly sealed at all, but definitely in with a good chance of scoring one here today in the early rounds of this championship. Don't forget, round 2 sees the Lotus 88B return to Donington Park, one of the most brilliant circuits we have here on the service, and I really do think that every time we've visited there, we've seen some breathtaking action, and this should be no exception as AGO6 and Pro Drifter once again start to get a bit side by side. Pro Drifter to the inside now. It'll be a very opportunistic manoeuvre, trying to capitalise on a slight error of the man in front of him, but AGO6 is able to just about hold his own through there, and very close it was too. Pro Drifter vying for a little bit more tarmac, but through that part of the circuit, it's so difficult to find any. And down the main straight, Pro Drifter's got to run to the inside. Over the line he goes. There's no hesitation there. AGO6 was never going to be able to put up a fight. But Lounger's time that, last time round was a little bit quicker than Kepu the Legend and company. A 2:14.3 from Jamie in P6 is, in comparison, will again give you full figures next time by AZ Best P7. A 2:13.7 from Seacombe. John Daniels wasn't too far adrift. A 2:15.3 from Severio and a 2:17 from DeMagico. So Severio really is flying at the moment. Oh, and just as I say that, he's lost it, and luckily lost it on the entrance to the runway, so was able to save the car without a lot of hesitation, really. There was a lot of car control beneath him, and thankfully no catch fencing. But a quick run through as to what's actually happened in terms of incidents today. We had Anxiety, our first retirement of the afternoon. with that unfortunate game minimizing error. We've had lads who are succeeding contact. Lolin Fox still officially confirmed out of retirement now. Magico is still the last of our runners at the moment in P11. We're only on lap 6 out of 22 here today, so still plenty of action left to come. Seeking P9, easy best in P7 at the moment. Still trying to push on against Jamie. Only 12 seconds adrift now as the midfield start to separate out a little bit, which is something we predicted in the earlier races, which never really came to pass. In terms of the field separating out and just trying to fight the tarmac. And as Lounger makes his way through turn number 4, they can just see Kepu the Legend in the background. He's dropped even more time though, unfortunately. He's 15 seconds away now from the race leader. He's 12 seconds in front of Extremely Fast, so arguably the most enviable position on the circuit, really. What he's got to do is keep a nice consistent run now going to the end of the race, and he should have a nice easy second position, something which John Daniels achieved last race. He's now P9 in this one, so that's not a bad outing at all, considering he's in the next skill quant up. And don't forget as well that this time last race they'll be halfway through. Turns out now they're only just a third of the way when they get to about lap 8.5, so still plenty more racing to come, and the sky still looking fairly blue at the moment. No sign of clouds coming over. And don't forget as well, if you do want to try out Area 51, it is completely free of charge, along with all of our other circuits here on Simraceway. Be sure to just go over to simraceway.com if you don't already have an account, and press the big green download button. You can get yourself involved in game and perhaps racing in some of these championships sooner than you might think. If you fancy yourself as a bit of a competitive sim racer, then this is going to be the chance for you. Of course, open to keyboards, joypads or steering wheels. There's skill quants for just about everyone. In fact, skill quants so much so that even I can be competitive in a series, and that takes somewhat quite a lot, because I'm not exactly the fastest racer out there, but someone who is definitely the fastest man out there at the moment is Lounger. He's just coming towards the end of lap number 7 through that tricky chicane once again. Gets the car nice and straightened up, and that Maserati sounding absolutely beautiful around the Nevada desert here today. Through turn number 20 he goes, and he's going to complete his time. Let's just compare it to what John Daniels is doing then, a bit further down the field, but a 2 minute 11.7 there from Lounger. We'll see what Kepu the Legend can do in response, and the answer is a 2 minute 12.4, so a big difference there, about 0.5 of a second in fact. A lap is what Lounger's lapping at the moment, quicker. Extremely fast, a 2.12.9. Pro Drifter goes over the line and completes a 2.13.0. And approaching the start-finish line is AGO6, a 2.15, so wildly so there for him. There's even Jamie 1, that's a 2.14.2, so the man in P6 could be looking at the brink of a top 5 at the moment. Best 7th, Seacombe is in 8th, John Daniels is in 9th. Still pushing on, 11 seconds behind Seacombe though. But as we said, the field all starting to separate out now. It's just becoming a case of really waiting for that temperature to drop. Of course, the day to night cycle pretty strong here. We're going to see darkness start to fall about lap number 10, lap number 11. But don't forget though, that doesn't mean the grip levels aren't going to already start dropping. The headlights, as we said, are already starting to illuminate a little. You can see a couple of stars in the sky, or are they UFOs at Area 51? You never know who's watching from the stars above. But Lounger even so showing some pretty alien pace out there right now. 16 seconds in front of Kepu the Legend, and he's just been in a league of his own, isn't he? You can just tell he looks so smooth around this circuit. It's something so difficult to do. Of course, it's modelled on an actual configuration of the Area 51 area. They've just sort of put all the runways together and modelled some fencing. So it's really interesting to see how it is based, in fact, on real life. Obviously, they haven't really decided to race Jeeps around the Area 51 environment, but Lounger through that chicane once again, turn numbers 17 and 18. Still looking strong. He's actually lost a bit of time there, I think. Kepu the Legend looked to be a little bit faster. During that middle section, we'll check what the lap times are. Is towards the end of lap number 8 comes Lounger. And over the line he goes, a 2:12.1. And I think Kepi the Legend may even be a little bit quicker, is he? No, he's not quite, a 2:13.0, so lost a lot of time during the final part of that lap. And a nice little rundown we've got here as well. We've got AGO6 just in front of Jamie 1 at the moment. That gap has come down tremendously over the past few moments. And AGO6 still P4. Jamie just turned his lights on now, so the lighting is starting to fade away. And just found out we've got AZ Best is retired from the race out of nowhere, so our theory is that he must have been abducted by aliens somewhere along the line or been taken up for some private tests in one of the military spaceships. Who knows? By the way, AZ Best we believe to be seriously having a disconnection issue, so unfortunately for him, that's the race over. But that does mean that the rest of the guys do move up a position, so John Daniels is now 8th, the race winner from the last race, Severio, in P9, chasing the man who was 2nd. Which is going to be a very interesting scene because last race Severio had a commanding lead at the front of the field and in fact won the race by about 20 seconds. He's now behind John Daniels by about 4.5. So obviously different race, different opponents, different circumstances. But in terms of a sheer race between the two of them, a duel if you like, it's looking like John Daniels has got the overall pace, and in terms of a driver of the weekend, I think John Daniels may be a contender. So it'll be two very impressive results. To come into a higher skill quant, it's going to be something very difficult to do to achieve a big result. Extremely fast, also starting to mount the pressure on Seacombe now. Again, we'll keep you updated with lap times as and when the information comes in. I do think now though the tension's starting to build up. 9 of 22, we're 20 minutes into the race. There's still plenty of action left to unfold. We've got another about, I'd say, 30 minutes of racing left here at Area 51. A lot can change in 30 minutes, especially in an area as unique as this one and as diverse as well. You never quite know when a car's going to lose traction or just kick it too much out of a corner, just like Seacombe almost did right there, going out of turn number 19. And luckily for extremely fast, he couldn't quite get there in the end and pull out the momentum he needed. Through turn number 1 they go, and a bit of sand taken there by Seacombe. I do think extremely fast is starting to gain so much right now. It's all going to be crucial as the race wears on. You can start seeing an animate object in the sky. But taking a quick peek back to what Lounger's doing now, interestingly enough, he's got that pit button lit bright red now. Is the indicator lit by mistake, or is Lounger running a one-stop strategy today? Of course, drivers can choose to run to the end of the race. They've chosen to do it before. One man was AZ Best. We reference it every single week, but back at Indianapolis, and he really did open up the title fight by not stopping, got amongst the title contenders, split them up, and in turn sent that championship down to the wire, the final race, where it really was a thriller indeed. But it can be done if you're careful with your car and you really can look after the engine. Lounger makes his way through that all-important chicane again. We'll wait and see if he does decide to take a trip into pit road this time. Just goes through turn number 19 now. Let's just wait and see if he can slow down. I think he's slowing down slightly. Is he doing it? No, he's not. Okay, so he's staying out then, just keeping the revs low in third gear. No, he is pitting in, sorry. So we were right. Lounger is definitely stopping. Now can Kepi the Legend capitalise on this? Because I don't think Kepi's going to stop. No, he's not. Kepi's staying out, is he? Yes, he is. Runs very close to the pit wall just to see what all the fuss is about. So Kepi the Legend now the provisional leader. Let's watch Lounger, because as he rejoins the circuit, he's only just in front of Pro Gifter. And Pro Gifter would love to throw a spanner in the works. It's not what Lounger needs. Lounger has got to try and get as far in front as he can. The last thing he needs right now is competition. If he finds himself being held up or potentially blocked behind a slower car, it's only going to damage his race, and all that time he had, all of that 16-second advantage, is going to be slowly started to be chipping away and crafted into a wonderful ice sculpture. But right now, Pro Drifter has got to try and get past him, because Lounger knows that he's got the faster car, he's got the freshest set of tyres. But no one else has actually taken the venture down into pit road just yet, which is very interesting, other than Severio. So Severio makes his way down and he's just going off for the pit jacks now. So he should be rejoining the track again very shortly. But interestingly enough, quite an early stop there to be just on the end of lap number 11, so not even halfway through. And you can just hear the aggressive downshift in there from AGO6 in P5, really trying to take the fight to Jamie 1. The last time we checked on these guys, AGO6 was definitely gaining. But it seems to me today that, yeah, he's kind of lost a little bit of momentum. He's starting to bring it back in, however. That last lap he was a few tenths quicker. We'll see if he can try and keep that current sense of momentum rising, or if it's all going to fade away, because with the pit stop window now officially being classed as open, you never know. There's going to be a spanner in the works. We've all seen the very best of cars lose out in the pit stop window before. Guys like Asa Acola, Pro Drifter, they've all had their incidents in the pit lane, whether that's missing jacks, whether it's simply not being quick enough in and out, or not having a good enough outlap. Capu the Legend is now going to surely bring his car into pit road after trying to gain an advantage. Indeed he does. He gets the car slowed down nice and early. Almost a perfect stop there for him. So he hits the jacks now then. He's got 15 seconds in front of Lounger. And now into turn 1 goes Lounger. So he's, well, easily taken the lead, absolutely comfortably there as Capu leaves the pit lane now. But right now, quick update as to what's going on in the field as Seacombe brings his car down pit road. John Daniels shows no sign, I don't think, a very wide final corner there for him. He brings his car right to the edge of the pit wall once again. I say pit wall metaphorically. In fact, it is just a few traffic cones. But Seacombe leaves the pit lane now, down in P8. And he doesn't really have any competition. Damagico is a lap down and in front of him. We're officially over halfway now, and it is Lounger back in the lead of the race comfortably as well, by about 5 seconds from Pro Drifter, who's not stopped yet. Bear in mind, so Pro Drifter may be playing the long game. It would explain, of course, why he dropped down the field so early on. Had a rocket start, got himself up to 3rd, dropped down to 5th, and since then his race was sort of at a steady incline. But now finds himself up into 2nd position, having not stopped yet. You just never know what that man's got planned. He's a championship winner now, of course. And through the hangar goes Pro Drifter. You've got to watch out for that wall. It's so easy to lose the car there as well. They've both done very well so far to not allow any incidents to come, and if you take one look to the night sky now, you'll just see how breathtaking that view really is, and I'm sure that's a photographer's dream, looking up into the nebulas right there. Absolutely gorgeous scenery here in the heart of the Nevada desert. Of course, the smell of petrol fumes and tyre smoke will be ringing around, and it really will be an atmosphere to be envied by many a motorsport fan. But as Lounger makes his way through the final corner once again to start his 13th attempt here at the Area 51 circuit. The lap time that time by was actually a 2 minute 12.8, so he hasn't really lost a lot of pace. And Pro Drifter, when he should be gaining on him, is only on a 2:13.6. Over the line goes Capu the Legend, having just stopped, of course, so his lap time will be wildly disconfigured compared to the rest of the field. Jamie 1 goes over the line as well now, and he's just a bit too slow, I think, through there. AGO6 follows him. He's getting a bit closer now. The gap just 3 seconds after AGO6 was a whole second quicker that time by. So a much needed improvement there for AGO6. I'm not too sure how that's going to affect his race. Well, it affect his race entirely, but right now, as far as he's concerned, any gain is a positive gain. We know catching is one thing, and passing around a circuit is really changing is this, and how very difficult is this? It's going to be extremely challenging for them. But nonetheless, AJ06 has got to be in the driver's seat. Very slow corner left for Jamie 1. He's either carrying a lot of fuel or maybe just simply lost out on pace a bit. Only thing is, when you make a mistake at one corner, you focus so hard on not making it again and just trying to refocus and get your car pointed back in the right direction, that you do start to attempt to take the corners differently. And once you do that, that's when the mistakes start to come in, because you're changing the racing line that you're not used to. And that is really when the men get separated from the boys. The men can really get it, you know, almost like they go over their heads, sort of like sticks and stones may break my bones. And you never know how you're going to react in that situation, but as soon as you make an error and you start to dwell on it, then that's when the more minute errors come in, and they all add up to a lot of time lost. That's exactly what AJ06 is hoping for right now, as he tries to keep that gap with Jamie 1 under 3 seconds. It is now just over 2, so that's been a bit of a gain. There's still plenty of time for things to happen though. As we say, we're only on lap 13 as Lounger makes his way through turn number 18 and 19. But Lounger onto the main straight. It's been a very good afternoon for him so far. Simply being unchallenged at the very front of the field. It starts his 14th lap of the race out of 22, so only 8 laps left to go now. And the night sky in full effect, and look how pretty it is. Really is beautiful. These drivers do not allow themselves to get distracted, however. Jeffrey Legend sitting very nicely in P3 at the moment. P4 still belonging to Jamie 1, AJ06 still in P5 I beg your pardon. And it was only a 400 slower that lap than Jamie 1, so he did actually drop a little bit. Jamie seemingly increased his pace just by a tiny amount, but it's enough so that there's no real distinguishable gain. But a bit of a moment's going to be said extremely fast. Has been one of the quiet drivers of the afternoon so far. Consistently in that midfield. He's P6 at the moment. Not had a bad race at all. He's only 16 seconds away from the AJ06 and Jamie battle, which is surely going to erupt after the calm before the storm. But even so, it's been a very entertaining afternoon of racing so far. In a track where no one's had a real I'd say credible experience at this circuit, because it's quite new. It's only just come out. A lot of drivers still trying to find their feet around here. They've been very cautious and very tentative with their practice methods and the way they're trying to attack this circuit. The drivers that aren't, and the ones that are really setting the timing sheets on fire, are going to be Lounger and Pro Drifter. Lounger's been doing consistent 2-minute 12s all afternoon. And it's a bit of smoke going into that chicane. I'm wondering if that's going to be an engine issue or if that's just simply a bit of sand being kicked off, because that's one consistent smoke trail. And who is it that's going off? There's definitely been an off for someone, and it does belong to John Daniels. There's something down to John Daniels. Is that an engine failure? He's got some kind of... Oh, he's lost a wheel. That's what's happened. So he's collided with the wall. The wheel has come completely off the front left once again. He's just trying to manoeuvre that car back to the pit lane, and the man who had such an advantage over the race winner from last time out, it's all come crumbling before him. Severio just passes him now, and Daniels goes back into the pit lane, and that is going to be absolute heartbreak for him. It's such a shame as well. He was looking so strong earlier on. He definitely has got no front left wheel. That is the cause of the issue. It's going to take a long time to fix as well, and he's losing a lot of time by missing his pit box. But as the night sky gets continuously more surreal, as does Lounger's lap times as well, the grip levels start to drop off a little now. The tyres start to get a bit colder. But let's just wait and see what happens, because right now Lounger's showing no signs of remorse. 18 seconds in front of Pro Drifter 1000 at the moment. And it's surely looking to only skyrise as well, as you can just see a shooting star there in the distance. So a full update on the current order at the moment. Lounger still leads, Pro Drifter second, Cappy the Legend in P3, Jamie P4, AJ06 is 5th place with that pit button lit up, interestingly enough. 6th place is Extremely Fast, 7th the Magico, 8th place is Seacom, Ninth place, Severio, after John Daniels just leaving the pit lane, now rounding out the top 10. And retirements for the afternoon are AZ Best, Lolin Fox, Lazarus 16, and Anxiety. All of whom have not really had the best of races this afternoon, unfortunately. They've done the very best they can, but some circumstances can't be controlled. I think Anxiety was definitely living proof of that. And just an interesting comment there from Top Gear Daniel on the YouTube comments saying, it's down to the wire with Lounger and Pro Drifter, but I do think that Lounger will end up in the pits as he tries to claim first position. Which is very interesting enough, as John Daniels has now retired from the race. Lounger's got himself 10 seconds in front of Pro Drifter. They're coming towards the end of lap number 15 now, so we will give you an update on their current lap times. Lounger goes over the start-finish line now to complete a time of a 2-minute 13.9. The Pro Drifter's got to somehow find some tenths of a second. I think he's a bit too far away. Yeah, he is. 216.6 there, so a huge loss. But again, just a quick update, I'd say, as to what's going to be happening over the next few weeks here in Simraceway. In terms of the Autolitis World Championship, we're seeing round one here, of course, with the Maserati NC12s at Area 51. Next weekend, we head out to Silverstone GP circuit with the legendary Lotus 88Bs, and we've seen these guys race here before. 205 mile an hour top speed with 490 brake horsepower, true legends of the 1980 Formula One season with that revolutionary twin chassis. And don't forget, just after that, we have the Bentley Speed 8, similar British racing icon. That's also racing at Donington Park. We've seen that happen before as well. Donington, back in the Donington Championship at the start of the year, where the winner of the championship was able to get their hands on a pair of tickets to the British Touring Car Championship round to be hosted at Donington later in 2014. With the Bentley Speed 8, simply a remarkable car. It finished 3rd and 4th at Le Mans in 2001 and 2002. Really are beautiful cars indeed. The last of Bentley's beautiful prototypes. And then after that, we go back to Area 51, where the Pagani Zonda makes its return to Simraceway competitive racing. The 2012 version, 218 miles an hour, and after debuting at the 2007 Geneva Motor Show, this car really has been a hit with fans and commentators alike. It really is one of my favourite cars we have here on the system. Brilliant to drive, brilliant to watch, and it sounds simply exquisite. But for now, we turn our attention back to what's going on the circuit right now. There's no real battles at the moment. The closest is going to be Seiko and DiMaggio. That's over P7. But DiMaggio still chasing Seacombe, 5 seconds away at the moment. And just up in front of Seacombe as well as AGO6, so there is still potential for a long-lasting battle to form here, but as the night sky just gets ever darker and the different colours from all the different sorts of stars and space dust out there start to settle in, these cars become some tiny little specks when you look at the wider spectrum of things. It'll be extremely fast still, P5. It is still Lounger that leads, 20 seconds now in front of Pro Drifter, who's dipped off seemingly a lot more than we thought he would do. But a bit of an aggressive downshift there for Lounger. He's currently out there, you can see 170 mile an hour downshifting to 4th gear. So it went down there excessively quick, it's got to be said. Now they're just going to fly through that left-hander. 23 seconds in front of Pro Drifter right now with about 6 laps remaining. 36 minutes into the race and still a lot can change here at Area 51, the heart of the Nevada desert, of course. But I think it's got to be said, though, that there is a huge comeback to competitive racing here for Jamie One. He's missed out on championships for the last few months or so, but Jamie has returned today in tip-top form. A 4th position at the moment. Yes, he's got the pit button lit, but he's chasing 3rd, 29 seconds away. Jamie One just looking a lot stronger than he was. I think right now we'll quickly run through the order once again, as I think ProShift was almost thinking about a pit stop there, but didn't quite go for one. So lap number 18 of 22, Lounger still leads 24 seconds now in front of ProJifter, with Kepi the Legend in P3, Jamu P4 with the pit button lit, interestingly enough, as we said earlier on. So we'll see if he does decide to delve in now, the man who returned to racing this weekend, looking for a strong top 5 finish. And he does pull over, shifts down, so he will lose P4 to extremely fast. So Jamu leaving the pits, a very quick stop there. Now, interestingly enough, AGO6 does not have the pit button lit in 6th, but Seacombe does in P7. So if Seacombe stops, that will make life a little easier on the man who just returns out the pit lane. Seacombe does not pit in, however, so going to be a very intriguing call, I think, there for that young man. I think Jamie's taking it a bit easier on the revs, just trying to get those tyres warmed up. You can't blame him. He's got 9 seconds now back to AGO6. So just make sure it's all up to temperature. Obviously, the ambient temperature here is going to drop under nightfall as the track gets colder, the grip levels start to fade, and the one corner that always becomes a hazard under these sort of conditions is that one just before you enter the hangar. It's so difficult. You're looking at 140 mile an hour left-hander, so quick, a flick of the wrist sees you fly through the corner. Let's just wait and see. It's Magico looking so superiorly strong at the moment in P8, trying to catch Seacombe. He's only 12 seconds in front. And there you can just see Jamie going through the corner we were talking about, getting very close, but it's so easy to just try and take a little bit more speed. It's one of those corners where it encourages you to take a more aggressive line. It encourages you to put a little bit more throttle on as you exit the corner, just to try and improve your lap time, especially when chasing another vehicle. And if you do that, especially under these nighttime conditions, then you could very easily end up in the inside of that hangar with a wheel missing, just like we saw in the support races earlier on. Well, lap number 19 is well underway for Lounger. He's about to approach lap number 20 in about a minute's time. And there'll be 3 laps left to go. So ProShift still, as we said, haven't elected to pit yet. Well, after, sorry, I tell a quite lie there. Is Kepi the Legend has actually taken second after ProJifter pitted. He's quickly taking the timing sheets, bit of an error there on the telemetry side of the board, but nonetheless, it's extremely fast in P4. Jamie P5, AGO6 still pressing on in 6th position at the moment, with Seacombe not too far behind in 7th. We said that battle going to heat up towards the end of this race. And now with the current track conditions and the way they are, you never know. There could still very well be a late shock in the tail here. It may not be a fairy tale ending for the man in 6th position, because only 4 seconds away is Seacombe on a much fresher set of tyres. There's not that much time left at all. We'll wait and see what the lap times will be like next time by. Talking of lap times, Lounger coming towards the end of lap number 19 now. It's a yellow flag out. I don't think that's for any dangerous reasons. There's a little bit of debris going off the final corner, but Lounger now over the start-finish line again. There's a 2 minute 12.2. Absolutely flying here, as we have 3 laps remaining at Area 51 until we close out round 1 of the championship. Kepi the Legend, 42 seconds away. It's been a pure dominant display here this afternoon by Lounger. Absolutely remarkable scenes as ProJifter sunk to 3rd after the pit stop. He tried to no-stop it, I think, but Kepi the Legend simply mastered the strategy. Pitted on lap number 10, don't forget. So a very early stop, but look where it's got him. And Jamie won after a very late stop, down to P5, but look how close Seacombe is getting to AGO6 right now. He's really starting to reel him in. It was 4 seconds a moment ago, now it's just over 2. Question is, can he turn those 2 seconds into an advantage, or is it too little too late? They will have 3 laps of racing left. Major 6 coming under a lot of sufficient fire right now. I think that's got to be said. Into turn number 1. Go the duo in 6th and 7th at the moment. And just having fun of them actually. It's Jamie 1. He's only 9 seconds in front. Of course, those fresher tyres should prove to be an advantage for him, but still, if you're not quite, I think, used to the conditions, then you're going to struggle quite a lot. 10 seconds is by no means safe at this stage. Oh, and Seacombe's out! Seacombe's lost it! And the one battle we had, Seacombe hits a rear wing on a barrier. Exactly what we were talking about. The grip levels faded. He collided with the wall with a resounding force. And Seacombe, after 48 minutes of racing almost, is out of the race. And that is really disappointing for him. A real shame indeed, but we'll just wait and see if there is anything left here. Any late plot twists. AGO6 is seemingly secure P6 now because Seacombe is 2 minutes away and retired. Severio, 2 minutes 21 away, will be his nearest competitor. So the race winner from last time out, newly promoted to the skill quant due to that win, is now running in what would be a net P7. Not something easily done. Very, very difficult thing to do indeed. So for Severio to come in after winning a 14-lap race, to then race 22 laps more, plus qualifying on both of them as well, and get yourself right in the heart of the midfield there, and P7 out of 14 is by no means a bad result at all. Severio is definitely a talent for the future. He's proved us that today, and we really can't wait to see what he can deliver within the next few races. Extremely fast, still trying to stay with Pro Drifter as well as they start the penultimate lap. Lounger already well underway, and he's just nipping his way through the first sector now. You can see maxing out there 170 miles an hour was Lounger. That engine not sounding too healthy at all, and we have seen a few problems with, well, I'd say that correspond with engine wear issues today. We're not too sure if they retired purely because of them. We know John Daniel stopped out on track and then lost the wheel. There's been a couple of other drivers in the support races where those engines have just been so hot, they've started to lose speed, they overcooked them, the opposite lock's kicked in, and away they go. But definitely, when you're hitting 170 mile an hour tops and that rev limit is screaming at you from inside the MC12 GT1, there's going to be a warning hazard sign going on inside the cockpit. But Lounger, with only one more lap to go after this one, surely just taking it easy now. Doesn't really have a lot of work left to do. He's driven 21 perfect laps to this place. I haven't seen him put a foot wrong all afternoon. I'm sure he's going to convert that into what is simply a very well-deserved race win. I think the Storm is fast past it. Under the night sky, it's just a little bit too cold for these drivers right now. A few more drivers have fell victim to Area 51's menacing ways. As Lounger makes his way on towards the final lap, he goes then through the final corner, and his final lap begins now. He's driven 21 solid laps, and he's showing no sign of letting up though whatsoever. He still did 2:11.8, and that's the fastest lap he's done all race long. So Lounger still, despite having a 43-second lead over the nearest car, will not say no. He has to keep pushing, and that is true racing driver instinct. Lounger is back. And Lounger is back on top of the championship as well.
This is the final lap. Keep it going.
So final lap is well underway then. Lounger just a few seconds away from what could be one of the most rewarding victories and most well deserved that he's ever achieved here in Simraceway. This circuit really is one of the hardest circuits to drive. Do it for 22 laps in a car that is not exactly the most user-friendly car out there. It's definitely one for the more experienced users. It is a very rewarding thing indeed. But Severio is going to be a little bit of lap traffic. It's not going to stop exactly Lounger from taking his victory. But the race winners from last race and this race will be side by side for just a moment at the end of this race, which I think is quite a nice opportunity. It's quite a nice scene. And one that the fans, oh, Severio goes on the sand, and that could have ended very badly indeed if he'd have just lost that back end. Luckily, he controlled it, and I'm sure there'll be a backhand swiping across the forehead right there and a sigh of relief. But Lounger, just 4 more corners to go through that chicane, that nasty chicane, for the final time today. And it'll be a breath of fresh air as he accelerates out of it. A little bit of a wobble, but that does not matter. Into turn number 19. And he flings the car left into turn number 20. The hard work is done now. 22 laps. And Lounger wins the first round. An absolutely dominating display. He takes charge of the championship. A first round victory. And now it's going to seem like a championship victory. The margin he had over there, he may as well have been a league in his own. He pretty much deserves his own skill quad after that one. Kepu, the legend, is going to cross the line in P2 in just a moment's time. He makes his way onto the pit straight now. And just almost lost the back end as well, but it's not going to matter now. He spins over the line, and Dancing on Ice makes its return to Simraceway. Pro Drifter is going to take P3 provisionally over Extremely Fast, providing there's no very late twists in the tail. We have seen it before though, but through the final corner, Pro Drifter gets a perfect launch and seals a podium. Very well deserved indeed, especially after fighting for second earlier on. A bit of a poor start though. He got himself up to second, went down to fifth, and got himself back up into the top 3 once again. Extremely Fast takes 4th place. Jamie 1 is going to finish in front of AGO 6 in P5 and P6. Yes, AGO 6 just crosses the line, but what about Jamie? He's returned to competitive racing here in Sim Raceway, his first championship back, and he gets the top 5. Not a bad effort at all there by Jamie 1. He'll be absolutely ecstatic with that one. Severio, the race winner from last time, is going to take 7th in front of DeMagico in 8th. Seacombe in 9th place. John Daniels out of the race, of course, as well as Seacombe in 9th and 10th. 11th, AZ Best, as we said earlier on, was probably abducted by aliens. Lion Fox in P12 after a game error. Lazarus 16 and Anxiety real final retirements, but Anxiety with the game minimising very early on, just lap 3 of 22. He suffered the retirement there. But that brings us to the end of the opening round of your first race in your 2014 Out of This World Championship, brought to you by Sim Raceway. Thank you so much to our cameraman No Fear C, to our events manager Kosake for making again all of this possible, and to all of you guys for tuning in and making this stream exactly what it is today. Congratulations to our race winners. We'll be wishing them the best of luck as they encounter Donington Park next weekend with the Lotus 88Bs for round 2. From myself, Liam Jenkins, we'll see you at Donington.